Ladies and gentlemen, Whoopi Goldberg has been suspended, and the links will be below. CNN, ABC News suspends The View host Whoopi Goldberg. Fox News, Whoopi Goldberg suspended from The View following remarks. New York Times, ABC suspends Whoopi Goldberg over comments. I'm not going to get into the comments. I will say this. I wrote a Jerusalem Post op-ed. You can type in H.A. Goodman, Jerusalem Post, AOC, or you can go to hagoodman.com. It starts off with tell Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez that, and I'm not going to continue the title, but I wrote a Jerusalem Post op-ed in 2019 because just like Whoopi Goldberg, AOC distorted historical record for political gain. What Democrats do is that their ideas, their philosophy, their viewpoints don't resonate. If they didn't have every single possible advantage, from late night to algorithms to every newspaper to most of cable, if they didn't have every single advantage, their ideas would not resonate. And so what they have to do is make extreme correlations. They try to, what they do is they make absurd moral equivalencies, because everything has to be hyperbolic. If they don't engage in hyperbole, which is what they accuse Trump of, and Trump engages in hyperbole, but he doesn't say things like the absurd, distorted historical claims of AOC and Whoopi Goldberg. When they're trying to pontificate, whether it's the ladies at The View or the progressives in Congress or any liberal Democrat at the dinner table, I mean, you've seen them ruining Thanksgiving, ruining holidays because of their apoplectic, hysterical, paranoid, obsessive, laser focus on their view of morality, what's right and wrong, and Trump is immoral, and Democrats are the morally superior among us. And they don't realize that their ideas, if their ideas weren't correlated or weren't expressed in a hyperbolic manner, if their ideas did not also, if they didn't explain their viewpoint with absurd historical correlations, with a distortion of history, because they have to paint their views as good versus evil. They're good, and Trump and everyone else is bad. They're the intrepid journalists, the morally superior liberal Democrats. They're the ones who are trying to save the planet and the environment as they single-handedly caused an all-time high or record highs in oil, natural gas, coal, commodities like everything from soybeans, wheat, cotton, to aluminum, to uranium, to everything. Now, commodity prices are at an all-time or record highs. Inflation is at a record high. Okay? Inflation is close to 15%. And you have energy costs through the roof. That's just an example. They proclaim that the environment is an existential, climate change is an existential threat. They single-handedly caused energy prices to go through the roof. Okay? They talk about wealth inequality and the working class and helping people out of poverty. They caused the poverty by ending economic activity 2 years ago. They did this, and they listened to people who were not economists. Their biggest argument is, oh, well, this person's an expert. All the economists were just shoved aside, and people who were not economists were revered. I wrote a Jerusalem Post article on that. But what's taken place is we live in a society where you can't discuss, talk, have a dialogue, have some kind of back and forth. And Whoopi Goldberg is now experiencing the consequences of the world that she helped create. She made a historically inaccurate comment. It was clumsy and not accurate, or at least not, it was offensive in many ways, and it was a poor attempt at trying to correlate two very different time periods in America, in world history. Okay? Now, what Democrats have done, and the Bush Republicans did this, hit subscribe to this channel, by the way. Hit subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel. That's below in the pinned comment. I have a whole bunch of segments today, 3 already on the Stock Market Crash channel. I will have a live stream tonight or later. I was going to have a live stream right now, but I'll have a live stream at 10:30 p.m. Pacific to talk about this, because this is breaking news. What has taken place in our society is that the sensibilities of morally superior liberal Democrats have tanked this country into the ground. We see it with crime rising in major cities. Yes, you know what? Criminal justice reform is important. You don't allow violent criminals, though, to circumvent bail. That makes no sense. But was mass incarceration a big issue? Absolutely. You want to know who helped perpetuate it? Mashed Potato Brains, our president. He wrote the section of the crime bill with the 100-to-1 sentencing disparity for the same narcotic, but if 2 different people purchased the narcotic in different forms. Okay? His son, for example, did not experience the same consequences as others. We'll just leave it at that. There's so much we can't talk about because everything is against certain guidelines and community values. And what Democrats have done is they've tried to politicize logic, reason, debate, rational discourse. They have tried to suppress all forms of dialogue, even jokes. They have destroyed comedy. They are trying to go after Joe Rogan because he wants to actually talk to people who are very qualified, but have a different opinion. If you have a different opinion from the morally superior liberal Democrat on YouTube or anywhere else, you are now engaging in some kind of theory, some kind of warped fantasy. Reality is a world contrived by coercion and bullying and economic intimidation. If Democrats cannot intimidate you economically, none of their viewpoints, none of their ideas, none of their lofty idealistic philosophy or viewpoints on life and society and a whole bunch of other topics we won't talk about, those don't gain traction. Because half the country, and also really half the world, has a different viewpoint. And ideas cannot be suppressed. And so, when you make a joke or when you make a historically inaccurate comment, I actually don't think that, like, in my world, Whoopi Goldberg shouldn't be kicked off of The View. People shouldn't be suspended or kicked off because of something they say that is perhaps inaccurate or hurtful or offensive. What should happen is there should be a moment where they learn, where there's a genuine dialogue, not this tribalistic society and media and world that Democrats created. The Bush Republicans used it to their advantage. The morally superior Democrats using it now to their advantage. And the Trump Republicans don't care what you say, what you think, what you do. They don't care. That's not an authoritarian. Trump is the antithesis of an authoritarian. He doesn't care what you do, what you say, what you think. He doesn't want military interventions, and Democrats do. Democrats want Americans to go to Europe as if Putin cares. After sending them off to never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts and wars that Trump had to reverse with a Doha agreement, May 1st, 2021 was the withdrawal, and guess what? Mashed Potato Brains, our president, decided, well, you know what? Let's not even abide by the May 1st withdrawal 2021 timeline. And that's why 13 Americans lost their lives. And one Gold Star family had to experience Alec Baldwin's rage, allegedly, with him sending Instagram fans after and to harass this Gold Star family. That's what we're talking about with the morally superior Democrats among us. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. I don't want what's ABC suspending Whoopi Goldberg. Look, I'm a Jewish American. Do I think that her comments were distorted and offensive? Yeah. But do I want her to be suspended? No. That's the world she created. That's the world the morally superior among us created. Nobody's pure enough and, pristine enough on the left. And what they've done is they want to erase freedom of speech, and now they're experiencing the consequences. Give me your thoughts below. Be here for the live stream at 10:30 p.m. Pacific. Thanks, everybody.